Welcome to the Solo4LIFE podcast. I have Blake again for a Friday podcast. I'm glad to have you back on. We definitely have some more topics and some topics I definitely want to continue on from last time.
To
So,
be here.
all right. Well, I'm going to start it out with Beetlejuice 2 finally dropped its teaser trailer, and it looks
It was good.
incredible. Yeah, it looks incredible, and I think I'm going to be very, very wrong with it. Because I've been very
You
surprised
think
by the details
you think you're what do you think you're going to be wrong about?
about it being a rehash.
Oh, I see. You think it's going to be more of a direct sequel.
Well, just more, just expanding on ideas, because a lot of
Right, right, right.
rehashes just do the same thing, and sometimes they'll just throw something safe in the formula that's technically different, but doesn't really expand the universe in a way. Similar to what, well, most sequels do, like Dumb and Dumber 2. It's the same road trip adventure, but they do run into some funny and unique situations, but we don't really get anything that crazy new about the characters, and I wasn't really wondering what they were doing after the movie was done.
Right. A couple things I noticed is the official title Beetlejuice Beetlejuice?
Yes,
Okay, that's interesting. And at the very end of the trailer when he actually spoke, his voice seemed noticeably deeper and the character himself, it looked like they had obviously Michael Keaton is older than he was when the first movie came out, but it looks like they put effort into making him look even older than he actually is.
I'm
So
almost
that looks interesting.
I'm almost 100% certain he doesn't say that in that scene. You can just
That-
look at his mouth movements.
okay, the lip
Very.
sync is off.
He either does not say it or he says it slower. You know how some trailers a character will say something, but in the film they say it differently. Like the juice
Hmm.
is loose, and then the movie's like
Hmm.
the juice is loose. It's just a different
Yeah,
delivery. I forgot.
yeah.
What was that? There was something. There was some movie where I was expecting a line delivery because it was amazing in the trailer, but when the movie comes out, it was just so wooden. I
Mm.
cannot remember what it was,
I've experienced that before.
and so stuff like that will be disappointing. But anyway, so Beetlejuice will actually already have a wife, but I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier, and he reminded me that Beetlejuice did mention that he had a wife in the first film because whips out a finger with a wedding ring on it, where he says, "She didn't mean anything to me." She didn't mean anything to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. I forgot. I
yeah.
need to rewatch it. And he just tears the wedding ring off, and um,
A long time since I saw it too. I need to watch it again as well. I think my
the
daughter would like it.
the woman that's playing as Beetlejuice's wife is going to be, her name is the actress's name is Monica Bellucci.
Oh, for any relation to the late John Belushi?
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't look that deep into it. Uh,
Can't be that common of a last name in show business.
I'm wondering if that's the same wife. I wonder if her finger will be missing. Just
No,
wondering
that
where it's
would be
at.
funny.
And imagine if she's in walking around the house and she finds her finger somewhere in a rat hole.
Oh
It's
God.
like, wait a minute, that's my finger.
It was really cool seeing in the beginning part of the trailer around in that at that funeral type scene in the graveyard, all the original characters. It
Yep.
was it was not it was cool.
And a new character that we haven't. That Tim Burton apparently is keeping that character very secret right now.
Was it maybe the character that there the funeral was for?
No, I mean, the character is standing with them. You just don't really see him in the trailer.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
There are,
I didn't pay enough attention, I guess.
yeah, of course you got Jen Ortega and
She looks like she fits the role very
oh
well.
yes, Tim. Yeah, after Wednesday, Tim Burton just. I think after Wednesday that sparked something in Tim Burton where he was like, hey, that little actress has inspired me to make Beetlejuice too. Apparently that's how it went down.
She's got the look.
Yeah,
She's got it down. She could be
definitely.
typecast. She could be typecast in the future as just the little goth girl.
Oh yeah, definitely. She's the new Winona Ryder, basically.
Right, yeah. And Winona, she looked good in the trailer. It was nice. It was good. And seeing the when she went and when Jenna Ortega went up in the attic and pull or was it Winona Ryder? went up the attic and pulled the sheet off.
No, no, it was Jen Ortega. Then suddenly she disappears, and Winona Ryder comes upstairs, and she
Yeah,
notices that the table is shaking. And in the back of my
yeah,
mind, I'm thinking, did she just go down there saying, "Hey, I just summoned some guy named Beetlejuice. You might want to go up there." And she just
yeah,
runs up there. Oh my God, what'd you do?
yeah. Excuse
The
me.
juice is
Yeah,
loose.
yeah. That was. Oh yes, it was so
I'm
good.
so glad he didn't say
I
it's
expected him to
showtime
say. That's exactly what I expected him to say. That's what I was expecting him to say, and when he didn't, I was
hmm
actually a little disappointed.
or attention Kmart shoppers.
Or I expected him to maybe say "I'm back" or something like that.
I'm back, baby.
Yeah, that would have been really good. But the juice is loose is good. It's a good
Yeah,
one
yeah, we'll remember it.
because that's a. I don't know if you know this reference, but that was a very very popular line for a football player in the '70s. You know exactly who it is when I say his name, O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yeah, yeah, right when you said football player.
Yeah,
Uh,
because he was the juice. And every time he got loose for a long touchdown, the announcers always said, "The juice is loose."
and then he literally got loose.
Then he murdered his wife.
uh,
Allegedly.
one thing that I thought about was when Kramer was drinking some kind of alcoholic beverage. What
In
was it called?
Seinfeld,
Yeah, on Seinfeld, he was drinking.
was it a screwdriver?
No, oh heck, I hate that I can't remember what it was, but he got drunk very, very quickly, and uh, he said, "You'll be loose as a goose and ready in no time."
He was a pretty interesting character on that show.
Did you ever see the reunion?
I did not. Wasn't he not there?
No, he was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah,
on the
I thought maybe he got like shunned after his little racist incident.
no. So it isn't your traditional reunion, and they actually joke about it. The reunion is on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I think
Okay.
it's a two-parter, and the entire 2 episodes they're talking about doing a reunion show, but Jerry's like, it's always so campy and cheesy. I don't want to do a reunion. So it's a really fun couple of episodes of them just talking about doing it. I think they eventually do it, but it's
Isn't
still
that on HBO?
yep,
Curb Your Enthusiasm?
it
I thought
is.
so.
They're actually on their final season again.
Who's the star of that show? Larry David?
Yep, Larry David and
I like him.
Richard Lewis. I think his partner he died this year, so I think that's why
Oh,
they're ending the show.
yeah.
Or
That would
maybe it
make
was just a
sense.
coincidence. It's weird how we have death coincidences.
Yeah.
Like how, well, I won't spoil that. That's a little bit too soon. Some characters die, and then in the movie they actually died. Like Carrie Fisher died, and then, well, no, wait, that they had to adjust the movie a lot for Rise of the Skywalker, I believe. Um,
Oh, because of lady that played Leia. God, what was her name?
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
I just said it.
Did you? Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get the dogs to calm down.
So I can't remember if her death was actually going to be in the movie or not, but I know she died way too early, so they had to make a lot of interesting edits.
Yeah, I wonder if that had happened nowadays if they just went ahead and used AI.
I don't know. AI is still a bit weird. I mean, it's definitely gotten a lot
Yeah.
better. Hmm. I'm wondering if we'll get any young Beetlejuice scenes, or if they'll even bother, or maybe
Hmm.
we'll get young. I'm
What
not,
context do you think how using young Beetlejuice in a scene would
well,
make sense?
maybe
Like a flashback,
before that character becomes Beetlejuice, because they might dive into his backstory.
origin?
Yeah.
That would be interesting because we never really learned anything about how he became what he was, did we?
There are hints that he's a businessman because when he's provoking one of the characters that he went to business school, and I don't know if that's just based off of his real life or he's just ripping some
Just
kind of
doing it.
random, degree out of the air.
Yeah, just one of those bits that he does.
Yeah, but it would be,
I wonder if it's gonna be. I wonder if it's gonna be as goofy and funny, or if it's gonna lean into being more creepy.
apparently it's very emotional. According to Michael Keaton, he had a little interview, and he said it was it's a fun movie, but it also gets very emotional. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe we dive into Beetlejuice's backstory. So he I don't know because
Be cool.
Beetlejuice is a evil character, but we also feel for him in a way. At least I do.
Yeah, and he's extremely. He's an evil character, but he's also likable.
Yeah, very likable. It's kind of like Roger on American Dad. He is
Yeah,
so evil,
he's
but
an
very,
awful,
very
awful
likable.
fucking person. Exactly, or Stewie from
Uh,
Family Guy.
yeah.
He's just a shit of a kid, but also we love him.
Mm-hmm. What else do I have here? Oh, yes, this is one of my favorite parts about Beetlejuice too. Doing so Tim Burton wanted to go back to his roots and do practical effects. And he's mentioned that after he finished the film, he remembered why he enjoyed making films because he went back to practical effects.
Hmm.
And so I
They're
love that.
definitely interesting. They're definitely way more interesting.
Oh yes, and he's doing slow motion, stop motion for a lot of the effects
Oh,
as well.
okay, that'll be
So
cool. I like
I
stop motion.
I cannot wait for that. Ooh,
What day does it come out?
September 6th, I think.
I feel like it would be good as a Halloween release, but I'm happy it's you don't
Yeah.
have to wait that long.
I want to have a little Beetlejuice marathon. I want to get the movie. I don't know if
Yeah,
I should have. I might have it somewhere, but if I don't,
I
I'll,
think I might. I think I might rent it this weekend and have my daughter watch it this weekend.
it'll be a nice refresher and take some further notes about what could be in the second one. And I want to get the TV show, the cartoon. It's probably not going to be canon, but I still want to get a little bit more familiar with the property,
I watched that
regardless.
show a little bit. It was pretty fun.
I watched it when I was when I was like I think yeah, I watched it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
This is
me
like
too. Yeah,
this is the late '90s when I was watching this.
yeah. Early 2000s, late 90s for sure. I don't even remember what channel it came on. Was it Cartoon Network?
Oh man, was it?
I don't know. I don't remember. It wasn't Disney and it wasn't Nickelodeon.
I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look up.
But so my third final bullet I have on here is Willem Dafoe is in it. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Well, he wasn't in the first one.
Right. That would be fun if he was in. But no, he's playing a afterlife detective.
That would that sounds good. That sounds about good.
I mean,
I think that yeah.
I wonder if he'll get. Willem Dafoe loves getting killed in movies, so I'm wondering if he'll get killed in this. I wonder if he might be the main villain somehow.
I really enjoyed Willem Dafoe.
I wonder if
He was great in the Spider-Man movies he's in.
I wonder if he'll become a common enemy where Beetlejuice has to team up with the other cast to defeat him or something.
That would be cool.
I don't.
I think my favorite part about that trailer was the song that they used
Yes, that was
over
good.
the whole back.
That could
Yeah,
have
I love
easily
that.
been bad, but they did that very well.
They did it great. It was a good trailer. It was just a good trailer.
It's interesting with the bridge with the red barn on it. That actually wasn't there anymore after the movie was filmed. Someone was using it as a shed.
Interesting.
So I wonder if they used the same. What if they took someone's shed and put it back on the bridge for the movie, or did they just build an entirely new one?
I'm sure they probably built a new one,
Yeah,
or maybe it's photoshopped in.
I imagine they would build a new one because that old shed probably would have broken down. It's
Yeah,
just after moving it around. So logically, you would want to build a new one.
and I think was the dude that that movie Interstellar.
I haven't seen it.
I think the director's name is Christopher Nolan. So there's parts of the movie that take place in an enormous cornfield, but instead of using CGI, he had all his people plant all that corn, and so all that corn was real. And then once the movie was over, they harvested it and sold it.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's probably so if he can plant all that corn for a movie, they can surely Tim Burton can surely have a shed built.
Oh yeah. um, I know. I Love Lucy. They made a scene where a humongous loaf of bread comes out the oven, and it was that Lucy wanted Lucille Ball wanted it to be real bread.
Yeah.
So of course afterwards they're like, oh, I guess we're going to eat it and then send it off to a shelter somewhere or something. I think that's how it worked, but I thought that was pretty. Just behind the scenes stuff like that
Yeah.
always interests me. It's a shame they got rid of and threw away all the most of the sharks from Jaws. That really sucks that they did that. I
Oh,
mean,
the animatronic sharks.
right.
Yeah,
Only
I
a
bet.
few of them are still
I
around.
wonder if the. Yeah, I was about to say. Surely they kept like the main one or the best one and like put it in a museum somewhere or sold it to a collector.
Well, they kept the ones that didn't have as much work on it, like medical components. But one of them is in a tree, I believe, still from the first movie, and the one from Jaws: The Revenge used to be at Universal Studios, Florida. But that used to be in one spot for decades, and then they finally took it away somewhere. It was they just let it sit outside and rot. It might be in a museum somewhere.
I think I saw in an interview one time Elijah Wood stole one of the One Rings from the Lord of the Rings set after they filmed.
Oh, I think I heard that. I think I heard something like that.
Actors steal. I've heard the actors steal stuff like that from sets from movies all the time. They should just give them to the actor, honestly, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
they should just have a table laid out with all the practical, items, and say, "Hey, you guys better grab these quick. They're going to be worth something
Yeah,
probably if
exactly.
this movie's successful."
That is exactly how I feel about it. Yep.
I could just see a guy using a shirt to put a bunch of items in, just walk away with it.
Oh man, and if that's true, if he has that ring, I mean, he could sell that for millions.
No, it is. I
Not
mean,
that he'd need it, but yeah.
there's some kind of billionaire nerd out there that would gladly spend 1 million.
Oh, are you kidding me? For the One Ring that Elijah Wood used in the movie? Holy shit!
Imagine just freely spending $1 million on something so small. But
I know. It's like, you ever watch Pawn Stars?
yeah,
Did you ever see that episode where Rick, like, he spends like, I don't remember exactly how much, but it's like around $1 million for the everlasting gobstopper from Willy Wonka.
yeah, I saw that.
I mean, just wild.
Someone still has Willy Wonka's hat from the movie, the one that Gene Wilder wore.
He almost bought that one in that episode. I
Yeah.
think. I think he didn't end up buying it. He didn't. He might have, but I'm remembering that he didn't
Hmm.
because
I don't remember.
the dude wanted a bunch of money for a few items. There was the hat, there was a Wonka bar, the everlasting gobstopper, and something else. But those are the three I can remember, and I'm pretty sure he bought the gobstopper and the chocolate bar, but not the hat. I may be remembering that wrong.
So, do you have any other topics?
Um. So, go Rise of the Ronin is basically Ghost of Tsushima at home.
Uh-oh. So it's Wish.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
Wish
it's like
product.
Wish Ghost of Tsushima.
Ouch.
And
So
I
it's
don't know if you've seen this. You should look. You played Ghost of Tsushima, right?
yeah.
You remember what the start screen looked like?
Aren't you standing in a field with flowers?
It's just the samurai sword in a field of flowers sticking in the ground.
Okay.
And Rise of the Ronin copied that exact same start
Oh
screen.
no.
It's just a katana sticking in the ground in a field. And as soon
Oh
as I
my
saw that,
god.
I was like,
They couldn't think of
and then
anything else.
and then I watched a lot of the reviews, and I don't really use reviews to determine whether or not I'm going to buy a game or not. Usually, if I want to buy a game, I want to buy that game. But I had already had some reservations about Rise of the Ronin, stuff that I've been wanting to learn. Is it going to have that Neo and Diablo type loot system? You know, and I found out literally just this past week that it does indeed have that loot system, and that was a big blow to
Mm.
my hype for the game. I was just like, dude, I am not trying to go through all that loot and all those arbitrary stat increases on the stuff.
I would
I'm just
much
not trying to do it.
I would much rather have 10 swords in a game than 1,000.
Yeah, and there's actually only like 9 or 10 different weapons in the game, like you said, but each one that can drop is going to have different like rarity and
Mm.
different bonuses and stuff like that. And I'm just not into that
Well,
anymore.
it
Like,
sucks that whenever a bunch of stuff drops, you're looking at it, it's like most of the time is nothing
yeah,
more powerful than yours, and that's
right.
what really sucks. It's like, man, a bunch of trash just fell on the ground and it's just littering, and I gotta walk right
Yeah.
over it. It's just, That's what I hate
And
about it.
every and people that are usually like really big Team Ninja game fans, like love Neo and love Wo Long and love Ninja Gaiden and all that stuff. They're so excited for this game as a mesh of an open world and that sort of combat. And what they basically have done is they just dumbed down and watered down the combat to make it more simplistic.
Mm.
And that was something that kind of dampened my hopes for it. And then the straw that really broke the camel's back on it after all that other stuff was the fact that it was just like another Ubisoft Assassin's Creed type open world with a bunch of checklists.
Mm.
And it was just like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. This is a $70 game. It kind of looks like ass. It sounds like it plays like ass, and it has, some aspects that I'm really not that fond of in games anymore. So, you know what? I'm just going to save my $70. And I bought a used copy of Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut on disc
There you go.
instead.
Got yourself
Because,
technically the better version of.
exactly. Exactly. And I never finished. I never played the DLC. So I can go back and do that. So,
I need to just jump on Ghost of Tsushima and just see if how much I can tolerate. Maybe I'm just in a part of the game that I just really hate, but then the rest of it's really amazing. I'm kind of hoping that's the situation that I'm dealing with in the game.
I thought it was an incredible game. The story was, I thought it had me invested. There was a little bit of that like checklist type stuff going on where you know what I mean, but
Mm.
not really that severe. And the big thing is that we've talked about so many times is that exploring the world was very organic.
Yeah.
And coming across those things was very organic. And there was mini games mixed in and it wasn't I liked it. The way they approached it was good.
Yeah, I thought the attire was really cool. I had my character looking really wild. I had
Oh
like some
yeah.
some kind of fur thing that I could slide my sword into. It was like I think it was black and white.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the different sheaths and all
Yeah,
that stuff, and
sheaths.
the fact that they had different sheaths and outfits and hats and stuff based on other PlayStation IP. I loved that. I had my character decked out in the Bloodborne outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so good.
Yeah, that was
It was
definitely
so
my
good.
favorite part of the game. It's just how you can create your character just to really fit your style and what you like the
Mhm.
characters to stroll
And the
around with.
combat was superb. And I was coming off of playing. I think I was coming off of playing Sekiro. Maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember. Which one came out first, Sekiro or Ghost of Tsushima?
I
It was
believe.
Sekiro, right?
Mmm. Heck, I got my phone right here. Isn't it great when games like that come out at the exact same time?
Yeah,
Uh,
because I thought Ghost of
2020.
Tsushima came. That was Ghost of Tsushima, and didn't Sekiro come out in 2019?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I was fresh off the heels of Sekiro,
Yes, because
and
remember, Sekiro won Game of the Year
yeah,
2019. The Last of Us Part 2 won Game of the Year
on
2020, and a
2020.
lot of people are mad because they said it should have been Ghost of Tsushima.
Which I mean, I haven't played that in a long time. I played it a little bit, but I don't know. I need to get the remastered version. I should have got that today as well. I had enough cash left over. But anyway, uh, but yeah, I thought the combat was superb. The biggest problem was the Mongol camps kind of got a little bit stale after a while.
Yeah, that's one of the
That
things
was
that happened to me.
Yeah, it got a little bit stale, but I thought the side quests were pretty engaging and good, and the main story, like I said, I loved. And I loved the Ronin fights where you had to do the one on ones with the Ronins. I thought those were just really really good, and the way that you uncovered the map where the whole thing was fogged over and only where you went became unfogged. I liked that too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm hitting a stale point with Final Fantasy VII. I'm so close to the end, and I'm not finding the motivation to keep playing.
That
I really hate
is
getting that.
unfortunate. So the story's not really doing it for you?
Well, I mean, the story's fine, but gameplay's got to be good for me to keep playing.
Right, right. And the gameplay is just kind of running its course.
Yeah, the game it just smacking around enemies. None of them are really posing a very interesting threat.
Do
Um,
you ever switch characters?
I usually just play as Clout, Barrett, and Red 13.
So, but you do switch between them?
Yeah, in battle, because it's very
Right.
effective. Because when a boss is targeting you and about to perform a strike, I immediately switch to another character, and that always works out. Unfortunately, the girls. There's something about the girls I don't like playing. I don't like playing as them. Tifa's the best one out of the three, but the
Is
rest
it
of them are
Tifa,
Tifa,
Aerith, and
Yuffie, and Aerith.
Kate Scythe? Well, Kate Scythe is a cat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a dude.
How
That's
do you
the
say that name?
Kate something.
It is Kate.
But he's basically the Mimir of the game. I mean, I know he was in the original PS1 game, but he talks just like Mimir.
Mm. Oh, brother.
Oh yeah, my brother. You go down that road, you're going to run into a lot of issues there.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm like, oh boy, they had to throw in their Mimir concept.
I didn't mind Mimir too awful bad. It was only in situations where I was dying a lot, and he was just like, "Oh, brother, brother," and I was just like, "Dude, shut the
That would
fuck
be
up,
so
please."
funny if, like, after you beat the game for the first time, you can enable a duct tape to put on his mouth. So he's like,
They did do something really interesting with him in Ragnarok, where one of the I can't remember exactly what they're called, but it was some sort of special like rune ability type thing you could do. You could equip, and you could pull his head off your belt and hold it in front of you, and he would shoot lasers out of his either his eyes or his mouth, and
hmm.
just it's like a fucking just a laser that would just devastate things coming out of his mouth, and then you put him back on your belt. It's pretty
Was
interesting.
that from Valhalla or the vanilla game?
Vanilla game.
Okay. Because I was thinking about
I actually still have to finish Valhalla. I've been
uh,
thinking about getting an internal storage SSD to install on this bad boy, but also been thinking about just waiting for the Pro and doing it on that because I am going to get a Pro when it comes out.
I'm pretty
Maybe
sure
not day one, but I am going to get one.
I'm pretty sure I'm getting an SSD for my birthday, but I'm not 100% sure. It looks like the box that my wife got, it looks like it's in the shape of what the SSD comes in. So hopefully that's it, because I'm having to delete games that I don't want to delete off my PS5 just so I
Yep,
can play new games.
yep. And I have a handful of games that I will refuse to delete no matter what, and they are Elden Ring and Armored Core
Hmm.
and let's see what else was it. I think those are the only two that I'm refusing to. Oh, and Fortnite because I play that with my son a lot.
Yeah, it's like a little piece of you dies when you try to delete Elden Ring or
Oh
Bloodborne.
yeah, I can't do it. I can't do. Oh, Helldivers. That's another one
Ah,
that stays.
are you still digging into that?
I haven't played it in a couple weeks, but I love it. It's a fantastic game, and I'll be upset if it doesn't win multiplayer game of the year
Hmm.
at the Game Awards because it fucking deserves it. It is a fantastic game if you're at all into multiplayer games.
So I had a little topic that kind of goes back to Beetlejuice a little bit. That's
Yeah,
movies
let's
with,
go for it.
huh?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, so movies with evil actors. I'm just wondering. The question is, can you watch a movie
Evil
after
actors.
right
What do you mean by that?
actors that have committed atrocities?
Okay. Like
How do
Alec
you
Baldwin.
worse than Alec Baldwin?
Um,
Like actors that mess with children. Like the dad from Beetlejuice. Of course, he's not going to be in this one because I believe he's currently in jail for these crimes.
what's his name?
Let me look it up. He's actually in a
I
few
mean,
movies that I like Transylvania 65000. He's in that as well. He's
What movie is that?
Transylvania 65000.
I've never heard of that.
Jeffrey Jones.
Jeffrey Jones. I don't know if I'm familiar with him. I don't remember his face off the top of my head from the Beetlejuice movie.
But I'm just wondering. He was also in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Howard the
Okay.
Duck, if you just want to know
I've
that.
never seen I've never seen that one. I've heard it,
Amadeus.
I've always heard it's an awful movie, and I don't know if that's people being ironic or not, but I've always heard it's not good.
But like Bill Cosby, he committed a lot of acts towards women that was uncalled for,
Yeah.
it's extremely uncalled for. But what's really? Do you think you could watch something that contains an actor that committed such terrible crimes? I mean, do you think you can separate the art from the crime?
You know, that's a really good question, and it's a complicated one.
Hmm.
You know, you probably shouldn't, but it really depends on how much you like that specific person and their work. Like an example, like let's say like I know he's dead, but Robin Williams. Like let's say he wasn't dead and it came out that he diddled children on the set of Peter Pan,
Hmm.
you know, or Hook, whatever it was called. Well, that's fucking awful, man. But I would still watch his movies because that's how much I love his acting.
Hmm.
But it would make me feel very conflicted, and I probably would feel gross. And maybe I would get to a point where I would be like, you know what? I can't do this. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it would depend on the crime, like you said, messing around doing the stuff that Bill Cosby did, or anything else like that. It's egregious and it's not really something to be tolerated. But I think it depends largely on how you feel about that individual
Right.
and their work.
Like I like Ezra Miller. I can't stand that dude so much that I will not watch anything he's in because
Yeah,
he
and
I think he,
I didn't really see much of the stuff he'd been in anyway. I think he was in the Harry Potter movies, the
was he.
Beast. He was. I think
Oh,
he was in.
Beast. Fantastic
Yeah,
Beast is what you meant.
Fantastic Beast. Yeah, and I think that's one of the only things I've seen him in that I can think of. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to watch The Flash. Just not going to watch it. And part of it is because I don't really care to see that dude in a movie, but part of it
Right.
is just because I think the movie's going to suck. So
Yeah, he's annoying to look at too. He just looks
he
like
is
that annoying
very
kid from high
punchable face.
school. Yeah, very punchable face. I actually knew a guy that looked like him, and I just every time I see him, I'm like, he's a jackass.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
So, when it comes, I love so much of Bill Cosby's stuff, like Fat Albert. But have you ever seen an
Yeah,
interview where he? It looks like he's back then. People just thought he was being funny with this actress. But ever since we all this stuff has come out about him, it is very eerie to watch. He's just staring down this woman on live TV, or
yeah.
maybe it was.
The context behind his actions kind of makes it very cringy.
Yeah, and then on the Bill Cosby show, he's basically just saying the quiet part out loud with his secret sauce. Did you see that?
No, I haven't.
He's like,
I didn't watch the Bill Cosby show much.
he makes this secret sauce that basically makes people horny and wants to sleep with each other.
Oh my gosh,
And I'm like, wow, he really just
that's a little too on the nose,
yeah.
Bill.
So
I watched a little bit of the Fat Albert cartoon, and then my grandmother had one of his old stand up specials from the 70s or 80s on VHS, and I watched that, and I actually really enjoyed it. He's actually a very funny stand up comedian,
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I enjoyed his
and
stuff.
but and he doesn't like curse or do stuff like that. And I think that's what my grandma appreciated about him. But then she had Richard Pryor as well, which is kind of like, okay, you don't like the cursing, but you have Richard Pryor on VHS. Okay, well, I digress. But yeah, I never he I don't I think I could go without watching new Bill Cosby stuff. I think I could go without it.
Yeah. I remember I really liked Ghost Dad. I really enjoyed that. I've only seen it once, but I remember loving it as a kid.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I always thought it was a weird concept. I think he drives off a bridge and drowns, and then he's just trying to contact his kids throughout the entire movie.
Wow, seems kind of dark.
Yeah, I remember. I think that's why I liked it because how dark it was.
Was it still funny?
I can't remember. I just remember it being dark. Oh, yeah, it was funny. That's right, because he comes out of the phone and it looks really weird, and he's holding someone by the collar like this because I think they were threatening one of his kids.
And he's a ghost, so
Yeah,
they
he looks
can't.
like a genie coming out of a lamp.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of it. Like I said, Extra Miller. I can't stand that dude. That's pretty much one
Yeah.
actor really just refuse to watch anything he's in. Um,
I, I mentioned him at the start. Alec Baldwin. I think he should have gone to jail. I believe he should have gone to jail. I think he should have been held responsible. He
I,
pointed that gun at that woman and he shot her dead.
I thought he was still being held responsible.
As far as I know, he got off. I mean, I might be wrong about that, but as far as I know, the prop director is who is going to end up taking the fall.
Heck,
And you know what? Maybe she has some culpability. I think it's a woman, but at the end of the day, they were not doing a scene. They were in between scenes, and he pointed that gun at that woman and shot her dead.
mm,
So, I mean, that is such an egregious oversight, negligence. It's just he should go to jail,
his
in my opinion.
reaction to her dying didn't seem genuine to
It
me.
seems so. Yes, I agree.
It
I agree
seemed
with you.
so forced.
Yeah. So no,
It seemed
no,
like
I was not buying it.
the entire time I just kept thinking about
So I'll
what.
probably never watch a movie or TV show he's in ever again on principle.
Well, you know he's in the first Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah, he was in it. You're right.
But he
You're
looks like a
right.
totally different person, though. It's like he went through a metamorphosis.
Well, you know what? I'm still going to have my daughter watch that, but I won't watch new stuff he comes out with.
Yeah, I never seen 30 Rock. Uh,
Me neither. I never got into it. Not a huge Tina Fey fan.
yeah, she looks terrible in that. What was it called? Mean Girls reboot TV show.
Oh my gosh,
I keep
man.
seeing
You
ads for
know,
that everywhere.
my mom took me to watch the original Mean Girls movie in theaters when it came out, and I remember I actually didn't want to see it because mom used to take me out of school every once in a while, and we'd go and see a couple movies. It was like this little thing we would do, and so that day we went and saw The Day After Tomorrow and then Mean Girls. And then I remember after The Day After Tomorrow, she was like, "All right, we're going to watch Mean Girls." And I was so salty about it. I was like, "Mom, I don't want to watch this stupid movie about these girls." And I actually loved the movie. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
I thought it was
And
funny.
yeah, after I watched it, I was like, "Okay, yeah, that was good." But, and then, when they come out with this TV show and my wife was like, "Ooh, baby, it's Mean Girls." I was like, "All right, well, let's give it a shot." And it's a fucking musical.
Oh, it is. I
Yeah.
might like it then.
Oh man, I hated it. I hated it.
I love
I was like,
musicals.
dude, turn that shit off. I am not a huge musical guy at all.
Oh heck,
The last musical I watched that I kind of got down with was the new Wonka movie. It was pretty okay,
it just
and I felt like it was beautiful.
yeah, it's technically it's musical. You could say it's a musical. Did you have you seen Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yeah,
Did you pick up any connections at all?
no, but it's been a long time since I've seen it,
Oh, okay.
and I remember you mentioning that. And we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's
But
crazy similar. Crazy similar.
right,
Especially with the
is it the same? Is it the same director?
I don't think so, but it's the same story from well, so of course Fantastic Mr. Fox is written by Ronald Dahl, same guy that wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And so Wonka is a
Okay,
brand new property, a brand new story, and so they basically grabbed another Ronald Dahl story and a
there's a connect there.
squeak, just spliced it in with the Wonka DNA, and that's basically what you got.
That must have been intentional then.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. There's no way that was coincidental at all. No,
Yeah,
I am not accepting that it was a mistake.
right. No, I wouldn't either.
Because you could basically after I realized the DNA, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be able to predict this all the way through, and it's gonna suck.
I think one of my favorite bits in that Wonka movie was the police chief, played by the Keegan Michael Key or whatever his name
Hmm.
is. Uh, every scene he's in, he's progressively fatter and fatter.
I'm
It
surprised they
was
did that.
so
I'm surprised they did that in a modern movie.
it was hilarious.
That's actually one of the more unique adjustments from Fantastic Mr. Fox was his character.
Mm. And I wish I was kind of hoping at some point that Wonka would try to convince him to stop harassing him by giving him some of his chocolate that was clearly superior, but he never did.
Hmm. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. The movie was a lot of fun.
It wasn't bad.
I
Yeah, it
don't
was. It was.
I don't regret watching it, but my wife got mad at me because I kept pecking it apart like I like to do.
Yeah,
On the,
yeah,
she gets
yeah.
very irritated with me whenever I think a movie is just okay. I'm like, okay, well here are the problems I have. Blah 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 blah. And she's like,
Right.
it's like, well I
Can't you
love
wait
it,
for this to be over?
huh?
Do you do it while the movie's going?
Yeah, I pick it apart as I'm
Yeah.
watching it because I keep
Like,
thinking
can't
about
you just wait
ways.
till it's over?
I keep thinking about ways where it could have been done better. Like with the whole,
Right.
them drowning in the chocolate stuff. I'm like, oh boy,
Right.
this sure is thrilling. They're gonna die. They're definitely gonna
Except at the
die.
last second, they're not.
Uh huh. The last second, I didn't really. I had a feeling that Oompa Loompa was gonna save the day, and then that happened.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect for him to fly in. I was expecting him to just run like heck. Just
That would have been
his
funny.
little feet just running around like Mario, but he
I
comes in.
enjoyed the Oompa
Yeah,
Loompa.
yeah, I
I wish
did.
he had been in the movie more.
I still wish he was a actual little person though. But Hugh
Yeah,
Grant,
Rupert Grant. He did pretty good,
yeah,
but I think the dude that played Tyrion Lannister in the Game of Thrones, Peter Dinklage. He is a little person, and he would have been great in that
oh
role.
he hates roles like that.
He does, yeah. He's said that many times. But
So
I think an Oompa Loompa is. I think he could. I think he should have. He should make an exception for something like that.
no, yeah, there are plenty of other little people though that would love to have a Oompa Loompa role like that though.
Oh,
That would
sure, yeah,
appreciate it much
absolutely.
more than him.
I
See,
guarantee they would.
Peter
But
Dinklage is just kind of
Rupert
ruining
Grint
this.
did a good job.
Peter Dinklage is actually ruining this for a lot of little people because of what he's talking, and everybody in Hollywood's listening to him, saying, "I don't want to play
Right.
as an elf. I don't want to play as a dwarf." And then all of a
And
sudden, little
he did
people are
play
out
as
of
the.
work.
Oh no, he didn't actually. I'm sorry. Well, remember that role he did in the Will Ferrell movie Elf?
Yep.
And he was the businessman, and then Will Ferrell just keeps calling him a dwarf and an
Elf.
elf.
Yeah.
Shit, I wonder if he had to swallow a lot of pride to do that.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe that's where it started.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Maybe that scene wasn't scripted. He actually beat up Will Ferrell.
That's actually funny to
Call me
think
an elf
about.
one more time. Call me an elf. You're an
He meant
elf.
that shit. He's an angry elf. He meant that shit.
I watched that around Christmas time. It was great. I still hate the ending for Elf though, but the rest of the movie's great.
It's an okay Chris. It's not my favorite Christmas movie. It's not my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah.
I love Will Ferrell, but it's not my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
I forgot what my favorite Will Ferrell movie is. What was it? I want to say Lego
Oh
Movie, but he's
man,
not really in it that much.
you ever seen Old School?
No.
It's got him and Luke Wilson and oh man, there's a couple other guys you would know, but it's an R-rated movie, and it's about these guys that oh gosh, I'm blanking on the premise, but anyway, Will Ferrell's character is this dude named Frank, and he goes, and there's this part of the movie where he relives his college self as Frank the Tank and goes streaking through the town, piss drunk, and it's hysterical. It's actually a really good movie if you're into that kind of humor. But I would recommend it. It's a good movie.
He was good in Anchorman. I really like his character in that.
That you know what, Anchorman is probably my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The first one, not the second
I,
one.
I love the part where Jack Black comes in on a motorcycle and kicks his dog off the
Oh
bridge.
my gosh, dude, that shit is so funny. And then the brawl between all the news crews in the alleyway. That stuff is so
But in the
priceless.
second one,
That's the first one.
well, they have another fight in the second one. They have a huge fight in the second one with Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey. Well, no, wait, Will Smith and Jim Carrey.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was they even have a Minotaur, and then Harrison Ford comes in at some point. He turns into
Oh
a
my god.
werewolf, I think.
I've only seen the second movie once, and I've seen the first one like a dozen times,
Uh,
so I probably need to watch the second one again.
Steve Carell. Uh,
I love Steve Carell.
Man, there's so many actors in the second one that just pop up out of nowhere.
Heck, the first one is star-studded. I mean, you got Paul Rudd, Steve Carell, and then Will Ferrell, and then the girl, the lady, Veronica Corningstone. Her, I can't remember the actress's name, but I've seen her in a bunch of stuff.
How long do
And
you?
then
No,
uh,
sorry.
go ahead.
How long do you think the Will Smith slap is going to last for him? Do you think that people will ever get over that?
I think people are over it already.
So, let's just say I Am Legend 2 comes out, which I think they announced. Yeah, they did. I
Really?
believe so. I think people are. I think people are kind of getting over it now, and they will gladly see it at this point.
Oh yeah, I think people are over it. I think it's no longer a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I really hate they disrespected Chris Rock like that, but
It
time
was
has
a
passed,
really, really weak move. It
Yes,
was a weak move,
but it's
you
not like he
know.
killed Chris Rock in front of all those
No,
people.
but it was super disrespectful,
Hmm.
and yeah, yeah, you can grab something out of the cabinet above the stove. Uh, it was super disrespectful, and Chris Rock, he said something extremely mild, something that I wouldn't have really been insulted by.
Hmm.
And his wife, I think she is a cunt anyway.
Yeah, I don't. I couldn't watch anything with her in it.
Yeah, I don't think I
I don't
would
think she's
either.
going to be anything good anyway. So
I think the last movie I saw her in that was any good was one of the Matrix movies. Wasn't she in those? One of those? Wasn't she in those?
I don't know, but you do know she's in the Nutty Professor, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really care about those movies that much. I've seen them a lot growing up, but I could probably leave them in the past. They're not my favorite Eddie Murphy movies.
Part of me wants to love Norbit, but whenever I watch it, I'm like, nah, nah, nah. The movie's just not.
It's okay, but yeah, it's not the best either. I really liked his Daddy Daycare.
And I think I saw that once.
I liked it.
I remember the scene where he walks into the bathroom and the kid
Yeah, and he makes all those faces.
yeah, and the kid's like, I missed. He's like, what does that mean? I missed.
He's just, oh god, dude. He walks in and the camera just doesn't show what the room looks like and just shows his
Yeah, I
face's
love stuff
reaction.
like that because it just, of course, you can
It's
just
funny.
imagine everything that's messed up.
You got me wanting to watch that scene. Oh, it's a priceless scene. And then they did a second Daddy Daycare with a different actor, and it was just not
Yeah,
good at
isn't
all.
that interesting how they'll make a sequel without the original characters?
Yeah,
It's
I don't
like,
get
how in the
that.
world did you expect this to be successful?
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it has worked in some situations where they changed the actor and the movie did just fine. I can't think of
like
any
Doctor
examples.
Doolittle,
Mm, which
because
one?
Eddie Murphy wasn't the original Doctor Doolittle,
Oh,
but I would argue his Doctor Doolittles are the best.
yeah. Are you comparing just the very first Doctor Dolittle with the remake?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
I've never actually seen the original before Eddie Murphy,
Yeah, I'm just talking about
so I
like
guess I can't.
a direct
But did,
sequel having a totally different cast being
I
successful.
understand. I understand. I understand. Did you
uh,
see the Robert Downey Jr. reboot of Doctor Doolittle?
no, that looked terrible, so I stayed away from it.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. It was a completely different take
Hmm.
on the whole thing, and they did okay. They pulled it off okay, but I still preferred Eddie Murphy's versions.
The moment I see two animals fist bumping in a trailer, I'm not gonna watch it anymore. I did watch Evan
Fair
Almighty.
enough.
I did watch Evan
Oh yeah,
Almighty just for fun, but it
It
was
wasn't bad.
I didn't really it was pretty much just as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
I really loved Bruce Almighty. It was one of my favorite movies growing up.
I do like the part where he kept stuffing his hair and his because his the Moses clothes kept popping up on him, so he had to
Yeah,
stuff it all into his
into his suit.
yeah
Yeah,
into his suit, and then he had to tie his beard back. I did like all that.
yeah,
That was actually
that
funny.
was funny. And yeah, Evan Almighty wasn't as good as Bruce Almighty, but I
No,
still
no,
enjoyed it a little bit.
yeah, because that's what I kept holding it up to was Bruce Almighty. And,
Yeah, and that's a great movie.
no, and Jim Carrey hates making sequels, so he didn't want any part of it.
He must really like Sonic movies then.
Yeah, I think he must be having a lot more fun making movies now than he ever did, or something like that. So he's just sticking with Sonic.
He does a really good job as the Dr. Robotnik.
Someone pointed out that he have you heard him sing "I Am the Walrus," his cover for the Beatles song?
I think I have. I think I have.
And then one of the lyrics in the
Sounds
song is
familiar.
one of the lyrics in the song is "I am the Eggman," and then in Sonic
Yeah,
he is the
yeah.
Eggman. So
He
that was a
is the Eggman.
unintentional foreshadowing of real life.
Yeah, I think actually you brought that up in the group chat before.
Did I?
I think you have because I think I remember having. I think I remember talking about it with you.
Okay. Did you happen to have another topic?
I don't. Like I said, I went over. I think we've already covered everything on my list the last couple podcasts, and I didn't realize it.
How dare you?
Yeah, I know.
All right, so I was thinking about story spoilers and how much they even matter these days. After you've seen so many movies, what's really going to surprise you? And can spoilers sometimes make you want to watch the movie more? So like, oh, that happens. I got to see that play out. But I'm thinking back to Endgame. What I think I was kind of spoiled with it, but I still went to go see the movie and I still enjoyed it. But I'm just wondering. I'm like, you kind of have like three outcomes like that. Either someone's going to die, or they're going to survive, or there's going to be some kind of weird twist that kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's still, the person doesn't die, but they're sent away, and you don't know if they're going to come back at some point. So like with Kong versus Godzilla, you can't,
I haven't seen that yet.
okay, well I won't say anything about that then, but uh, it's like with a lot of video game spoilers. I keep wanting to play games very quickly, especially if I'm interested in the story. I don't want it to be spoiled. Plus, I also stay off a lot of gaming social media, so I'm not going to really get a whole lot other than just stuff on YouTube. I mean, plus a lot of it's fake sometimes. But I had some people like posting like Final Fantasy spoilers, and I'm like, even that's real. I really don't care. I guess I don't know if that's either me just not caring about the story that much, or I just kind of feel like it's expected. But
Well,
uh,
I mean, Final Fantasy VII is. You said Final Fantasy VII, right? I mean, that's like like a 20-year-old game,
right.
so everybody knows what's going to happen.
So I think that's why I'm
But
just kind of really calm towards it because I'm like, well, the story is 20 years old and they're not making that many adjustments to it.
right,
So it's
they're
like
just adding context.
you're saying who is so and so is going to die at the end. I'm like, I think that's what I've been told that's going to happen for a long time now. But
Have you already gotten through one of the main through the? I think because I know of one. I've never played the games, but I know one of the characters dies in that game. Have you already gotten past that?
no, no one significant has died.
But do you know who's going to die?
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty clear on that, but we won't say it here just in case
Okay,
someone's unclear about how the Final Fantasy
right.
stories work.
Well, see, my thing about the spoilers is like, and we talked about this before about video game spoilers, gameplay and mechanic type spoilers. I don't care. Tell me all there is to know. But story based spoilers in a story driven game like The Last of Us would ruin the experience for me.
Hmm.
So in a movie where the whole thing is about the story, I definitely don't want to have spoilers because it's then like, why did you just fucking tell me that? Like when Game of Thrones was on, I would be willing to like I would probably literally be willing to fight someone if they spoiled Game of Thrones for me because it's like, what are you doing? Like the story is everything for that. And especially once they got to the point past where they got past the books, so everything was unknown. But yeah, I am not a big fan of story spoilers. Just I'm not a big fan
So, what kind of spoiler is worse for you, when someone lives or when someone dies?
when someone dies, for sure.
Is that just because you know that's going to be the end? You know, where you're just never going to see that character again, possibly, unless they just come back in a prequel, or
Yeah, that's basically
or
it.
if it's a fantasy game, they come back as a ghost somewhere, like in Star Wars.
Because you don't usually you're not expecting a character to die usually.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find out, oh hey, so and so lives, like, oh okay, and water is wet, of course they would live. Why wouldn't they?
I remember.
But if somebody dies, and it's like, what?
It's funny when whenever video game comes out, and it's heavy with a story, but you don't hear anything for a while. I mean, of course, there's a lot of people that beat the game very early, and they're able to see all the story spoilers. But so a lot of people pick it up from there because they don't actually play the game. They watch the other person play the game, and then they find all the spoilers first without even playing the game. But it's like with certain games where I was waiting for certain spoilers to come out about it, but then I never heard from them. So I'm like, well, it must not be true. And that's with one game in particular, because I was really hoping that this one thing would happen, but it never did. Um, like
Game you
like
talked about.
for example, God of War Ragnarok. I kept expecting
Okay.
something to happen, and I was wanting it to happen. I was kind of hoping to be blown away with a very unique way that they would approach it, but it ended
Mhm.
up ending in a very predictable way, and I just the game ended with me being very disappointed because I was hoping that they would take a dark turn somewhere, and then it just didn't. It just took a safe route. One of the reasons why I didn't play Spider-Man 2, because I believe it's made by the same, of course it's made by Sony as well, and I'm like, well, it's probably just going to give me a safe story. I actually spoiled myself watching one cutscene because I was curious, and I'm like, oh, I'm surprised they went that far, but so, but
So Spider-Man 2, I thought was really good. Uh, I don't know if I would say it's necessarily unpredictable, because it's not really,
hmm.
but it's just I thought it was well done, and especially the scene with Venom
I
and the
heard,
symbiote,
I
that
heard,
was really good.
yeah, I heard Venom was really well done.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but like in God of War, I think that they have this idea. I think they have, this plan for where they plan to, where they want to take Kratos going forward. Because I don't think they're retiring him anytime soon.
Hmm.
They'd be foolish to, honestly.
Right.
But
Well,
I think they have this plan.
I never meant for him to go away forever. Just something happening to him.
Right. Right. Yeah, I remember you talking about, you wish that maybe he died in the game. Didn't you say that?
Yeah, to a certain capacity.
Right, right. And then maybe Atreus has to go to the underworld
Right.
and
And I thought
bring his soul back.
I thought the Brock thing was going to be foreshadowing, where
Right.
Kratos dies somehow, then Atreus has to go and save him. And I was kind of hoping
Hmm.
that would be the deal.
But
Um,
then also, didn't you just not like playing as Atreus?
I didn't mind playing as Atreus. I felt like his gameplay made a lot more sense with the camera angle because he was bow based,
Right,
archery
right, right.
based. So that's actually one thing. I guess is a hot take. I do love playing as Atreus because he
I
felt like a weaker
I know
character,
some people don't like it, but I didn't mind it.
and I felt like a lot of the enemy arrangements felt really good. I mean, it's the God of War Ragnarok. The gameplay and the combat was actually really well done. It's
Yeah, that's
just
great.
it's just the story gets in the way that I just didn't like. I would play Ragnarok more
It started
often.
off so strong with that battle with Thor.
Hmm.
That was incredible. One of
Right.
the best openings to a game I've ever experienced. But then by the time you get to the end fight with Odin, it's just like, well, okay, we're about to go kill Odin, and then that'll be that. The game will
Hmm.
be over. And that was okay, I guess. Right before that, when you're meeting with Surtur, I don't even think you fight Surtur, do you? You don't even fight him, do you?
Who was that? Remind me.
the fire giant, the
Fire
one
Giant.
that the one that gives you access to the that great divine power to start Ragnarok.
No, no, you don't fight him. I was
Yeah, you
hoping
don't fight
to.
him. Yeah,
That would have
yeah,
been
me too.
awesome. I think
I
that
was
would be
hoping
the
to.
biggest enemy so far to fight on God of War. If that was true.
Yeah, yeah, you don't fight Surtur, and then but that whole sequence where he takes you to that realm or whatever, and then you come into contact with that greater divine power or whatever it is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I thought that was awesome.
Hmm.
And then you invade Asgard, and it's just like, okay, well, there's like a big siege battle going on, and you're trying to make your way to Odin. And I did think it was kind of cool that Thor, I think Thor kind of turned on Odin at the end there, didn't he?
Well, he just didn't want to fight anymore, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And I liked how they did his character development with, how he is like a broken man,
Hmm.
and he's a god,
Yeah,
but he was still just as broken as any mortal.
yeah. Thor was done really well. He was one of my
Yeah,
favorite characters. I never said that he was bad or anything like that. I thought his death was a bit
right.
pathetic, but
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, the way he had all his problems with his drinking and his anger issues and his violence and his family issues, I thought that was, it was kind of you know, it's the path Kratos could have taken, but you know, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. And Odin, being the manipulative, just piece of shit that he was, but his ending, it wasn't that great.
I really
It was
loved
predictable.
the boss fights. Like with the duo legends. I did a no damage run for those, and I had a spectacular time. I thought the arena was great. I thought the way they threw in extra enemies was actually very well thought out and generous, where it could actually be accomplished without taking damage. And I did that. I actually recorded that footage for my review, and it was one of my most satisfying kills.
I almost feel like the boss fights in the 2018 God of War were more memorable than Ragnarok.
Probably. I'm trying to remember. I know Heimdall was good because it reminded me of a classic
Yeah,
God of War fight.
yeah. Heimdall was okay.
I hated that little interdimensional beast fight. It just was
Oh,
just
from the
it was
tree.
something like that. Yeah, 'cause it was just more
Yeah.
annoying than anything. And
And
then,
but I mean, I think of the 2018 God of War, and I think of the dragon fights and the Valkyrie fights, and
mm-hmm,
then Thor's sons,
yeah.
and then the different battles with oh gosh, what was the main bad guy's name? It started with a B.
Oh, Barrett,
Bal
Baldwin,
Balder.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, was it Balder? I think it was Balder.
I think so.
Yeah, all the different fights with him were really good. Yeah, and
So
then you fighting with Freya at the beginning of Ragnarok, and then all of a sudden she forgives you. Well, she doesn't really forgive you, but Atreus, just kind of makes her chill out, and then y'all are friends the rest of the game. Like, okay,
I forgot. I should have mentioned the God of War spoiler before I said Thor's death. I hope I don't
well,
make
it's okay.
someone. I hope I don't make anyone upset for that. Sorry.
The game's been out for a year and a half. They can get over it.
uh, what else I have on here? So Plucky Squire. Definitely looking forward to that. I saw a preview, a gameplay preview for it, and it just makes me even more excited to get into it. It's of course, you go from 3D to 2D. You're basically playing inside of a book, kind of like how
It's on PlayStation, right?
yeah. And also, I just remembered about another game I want to talk about real quick. But so you're playing inside of a book, and it kind of works very similar to the Winnie the Pooh level on Kingdom Hearts, where you go inside the book and play a bunch of mini games. But Plug Squire is The whole
Yeah.
game is within the book, but sometimes you have to go outside of the book and solve puzzles. And a very interesting mechanic is that you can actually flip the book cover one way, and then you can flip the left side up. And what this does is it moves objects like a mine cart. Let's just say you need to get
Wow.
inside a little section of the game, but you can't get there because the mine cart is in a section that you cannot reach. So you reach
Yeah.
up the right side of the book, and it rolls down. You jump on, and then you lift the other side of the book, and it rolls back to the area you couldn't reach before. And so that
I
one's
just
very.
pulled this. I just pulled up the Plucky Squire page on the store, and it does the 2D and the 3D are so different looking. That is
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
The trees in the game is this. That's really wild, and has I think a big giant skeleton, a dead skeleton. Oh well,
The,
big
the
giant skeleton.
graphic the graphics on the in the 3D portions are absolutely incredible. I'm not even a huge graphics guy, but it just looks
Mm-hmm.
great.
Yeah, it's. I'm hoping it's a nice short game to get through and get done 100% and just kind of really appreciate the experience and some. See, that's what I really love about games like this. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I don't get tired of it. I play it, I finish it, and if I got stuff I want to
Yeah.
do, I'll go back. And I never get exhausted with games like that are so well paced. That's why I just get very disappointed with games like Final Fantasy VII, where it's going on for so long, and
On a bloat.
I'm just ready for it to wrap up. And it's just I guess I had to admire people for just wanting to stick with it for so long. Like, oh man, just keep. I guess the story can really motivate people to keep
Could
going.
you
But
imagine getting the platinum?
oh, I don't get platinums anymore. I'm done with that.
Have you looked into what it takes to get the platinum for that? Apparently, it's supposed to be really hard.
Storm informed me that you can get all the trophies by the end of the game except for two.
Really?
So that the last two must be pretty rough.
Right. Looking here at this Plucky Squire stuff, it almost the 3D parts almost are remind me of Astro's Playroom, and then the 2D portions are reminding me of Nobody Saves the World.
Did you ever finish that?
No, I didn't.
Ah,
I still have it on my Xbox. I started playing other stuff, but I do still want to finish it eventually. There's just so many games to play right now.
but Plucky Squire, it looks like it has a lot of ambitions, which is what I look for in
It
video games.
does.
Just
It does.
it's just right up my alley.
It does look like something that'd be right up your alley. It also honestly looks like something I'd be willing to give a try.
So the other game I want to mention that I just remember is a Squirrel with a Gun finally announced itself for PlayStation and other consoles. But looking at the gameplay, it looks like you just run around and shoot people, kind of like just maybe just in a similar way. Kind of looks like Goat Simulator. So I'm kind of hoping it's more refined than Goat Simulator. Hopefully there may be some fun little challenges you can do with being a squirrel with a gun. I'm gonna look into it further, but I like the concept so far because it looks funny with you being a squirrel just holding a regular sized gun in your in your grasp and just running.
It's definitely giving like goat simulator vibes.
Yeah, so I may or may not pick it up because I just don't really like the way the Goat Simulator is designed. It's a
I
very
never played it.
it's just mainly chaotic based, and I want a game that's a little bit more of course, challenge based or a little bit more refined in its design instead of just being so messy.
Did you ever look into that game Pacific Drive?
I haven't looked into it further. I believe the physical copy comes out later. I need to
It's
look up
supposed
some.
to be pretty decent. I've seen some good things and some kind of mixed things, but nothing really too negative.
Yeah, I'm trying not to look at reviews anymore. I just if I'm interested
Yeah.
in the game, I'm just gonna play them. Um, and if I have some second thoughts, I'll just wait on them to drop the price. But if I'm interested in the concept, I'm so tired of having reviews bear down on me. And plus, a lot of
Yeah.
journalists they lie and they don't tell the truth. They also probably play with a lot of cheats enabled, and so they don't really get to experience a whole lot of stuff. So it's just I just find it a colossal waste of time. Reviews used to be good to justify buying something. Like, oh man, that's very interesting. But most of the time, reviews do not touch on what I find important in gaming. They just talk about the story and then the face value of the gameplay, and then it just feels like a waste of time to me.
There's a couple of YouTube reviewers that I really I trust. Like Fighting Cowboy is one of them, and then there's these guys at this channel called Game Rank. They do a really good job. But I like to listen to people that are fans of the game, because they're usually going to tell you straight up.
Right.
Like Cowboy is a huge Team Ninja fan. Neo is one of his favorite Souls likes ever. I think he said it's his favorite Souls like ever is Neo 2. And he let it all out on how disappointed he was with Rise of the Ronin and how it just did not hit the mark. How the combat was a step back from it was two steps back from Neo and a step back from Wo Long. And I was just like, wow, that's pretty intense. And he just had, lots of criticism. So I can trust that because he's not being a fanboy because he always loves their games. And he just did not vibe with this one. And and so I can appreciate that. And the Game Ranks guys, they have two guys that consistently do their reviews, and they go fairly in depth with the stuff about gameplay and some positives and negatives, and they just try to be as objective about it as possible with their opinion. But most of the time, you're right. A lot of them are useless. Like I don't pay attention to the big sites reviews usually, like IGN and stuff like that. But I do still look at Metacritic scores, and I probably shouldn't. But I don't know. Part of it is an entertainment factor. Like I don't know. I kind of get into, like, I don't know why.
I do like hearing people complain about games, especially if they're games I don't like. But also, if there's a game that I do like and I hate one aspect, I want to see if they talk about it. But sometimes people are like, "Oh man, I love this aspect so much," and this and that. I'm like, "Well, this review isn't for me."
Right. Yeah, if they're focusing like half the review on one mechanic or one little part of the game, that's like, okay, well, you're not really useful.
I like just YouTubers that like to do video essays. I find that they have the better reviews. And they feel like it feels like they put a lot more heart in it because it's not their job; it's a hobby. And so I feel like they're able is a passion project. Unlike some kind of journalist at IGN that doesn't want to play video games anymore, feels like he's forced to write about something. You can find these YouTubers that are just using writing as a hobby, and then you can tell there's a lot more heart placed into it, and it's not as mean spirited. If you find the right guy, there's still a lot of mean spirited people out there that just make a video just to bash something to death, for some clout.
That's their whole shtick.
Yeah, like the Young Defiant. All he does is just bash every single game that comes out.
I think that if that's the same dude you're talking about, I think I've seen a guy like that. His YouTube channel, literally every single title for his reviews is "Don't play this game. This game is bad."
Well, yeah,
and it's just like,
I know
hey,
there's
dude,
one guy that holds up the case and points at it like this game
I think,
sucks.
dude,
But
I think that's who I'm talking about.
no, this is a
Yeah.
different guy, Young Defiant. He doesn't show his face.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
I think he praises all the From Software games, which is why I was on to, I enjoyed him for a while. But once you saw one of his one of his videos about him criticizing something, you've pretty much seen it all. He does the same
Right.
bit for every single game that he criticizes. But I do appreciate his love for the From Software games. But I eventually had to unsubscribe from him because it just got tired after a while. I got tired seeing his videos pop up.
Yeah, this guy I'm talking about, he had the same kind of video for Elden Ring. Like, this game is awful, it's bad. Don't buy this game. I'm just like, dude,
Yeah, just
somewhere.
clicks, clout. That's all he's doing it
Yeah.
for. He probably secretly loves Elden Ring, but he's just doing it for some
Probably.
views. It's funny. It's funny how YouTube works.
Yeah, it is.
I got to redo my Final Fantasy open world organic open world video because my volume's too low, and I also forgot two things. I left two things out of it, so I'm kind of glad I get to do it again. I'm wondering if I should just re-record the whole thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm.
Oh, my bad. Keep going.
Oh no, what I can do is that once I record the other two segments, I'll process just the audio file, and then I'll reload it into Pinnacle. That way I can increase the volume and have it much louder. So I'm going to do it that way. That way I don't have to re-record everything.
Did you happen to catch the Final Fantasy 16 DLC trailer
Yeah,
today?
I saw that, but I'm trying to remember what the last DLC was. Was it just items, or did they actually add something?
Something about, yeah, it was, there was some story stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It was called something Echoes of something.
Yeah.
And then the one that comes out next month is called Rising Tide, and they're going to introduce that last
Rising
icon, the
Tide.
Leviathan. Yeah, Rising Tide.
Really? Hold
Uh-oh.
on.
Uh-oh. Are we going to
I
have a
think I
moment where
heard.
you don't like the name?
Hold on. Okay. I thought it was on something else. I was thinking about Dead Island. I was like, that feels like that was a Dead Island subtitle. Dead Island Rising Tide.
It could have been.
Let's
But
see.
yeah, pull it up, see if you can find something.
Uh,
I like it when we do this.
because it happens so often. You have to admit.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, it does.
I was surprised. Oh, found one already. Civ-
Oh no.
Civ- Civilization Beyond Earth Rising Tide.
Oh, come on. That's pretty vague.
Um.
But you found one.
Oh, here Enigma Rising Tide.
But you got to admit, Rising Tide kind of fits with the motif of Leviathan.
That sounds like a Horizon Zero Dawn subtitle. Horizon Zero Dawn Rising Tide.
You know what? That's fair. And then what? Well, there was a game not too long ago where you thought the subtitle was original. It was a what was it? It was kind of a big game, wasn't it? I can't.
Well, I thought it was original.
Or you liked it at least.
I can't
Gosh, what
remember.
was it? Was it Forbidden West?
I don't think so. I mean, I appreciate Forbidden West's. I won't
Hmm.
play the game, but at least I appreciate
Right.
the. Uh,
I remember us talking of what maybe it was Fires of Rubicon
yeah,
for
yeah,
Armored Core.
that's it. Fires of Rubicon, but I think Rubicon was used for something else. Fires of Rubicon. I guarantee it. Probably the only thing I'm going to find is just Armored Core stuff, though.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't. It's too. I think it's too late in the game to really find anything else on Rubicon because of Armored Core 6.
Yeah, and then of course God of War Ragnarok. You know that's.
Battletoads Ragnarok.
I think you got a Plague Tale Requiem. I don't. I think Requiem is probably something that's been used.
Oh yeah. Ascension. Uh,
I'm just going through my list of games here to see if I can find something that sounds,
and of
original.
course you got like templates like Shadow of the. I was kind of criticizing
Right.
the DLC for Elden Ring. Like, oh boy, here's another Shadow of the template they're
Shadow
bringing
of the.
out.
Yep. Yep.
Shadow of the
Yep.
Erd
You're.
Tree,
Yep.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Colossus, Shadow of
What about
Mordor.
what about the subtitle for Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin? That's pretty good,
Yeah,
right?
you're not gonna find that on any other game.
No. And then you have Sekiro, Shadows Die
Yeah,
Twice.
no, that's completely unique. He just uh
Let's see.
Fires Fade, Dark Souls 3. That's a little bit ordinary.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Fires
Hood,
Fade.
Outlaws and Legends.
Oh yeah, Legends. Yeah, Legends is in a lot of video game titles in general. Yeah, you're not gonna find any fire fades on anything else for Dark. Yeah.
Predator Hunting Grounds.
Yeah, the Legends is actually a good point. You had Tomb Raider Legends. Um,
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
I don't think that's taken actually. That's actually a good title. Well, of course you got League of Legends. Let's see. League of Legends might be the only thing that pops. Minecraft Legends. Heck, I didn't want to click on that. Rise of Legends.
Hunter's Arena Legends.
Oh, Gauntlet Legends.
Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night.
Apex Legends.
Ritual of the Night just sounds like a Castlevania ripoff. But I mean,
It technically is.
Bloodstained is yeah, blood. The whole game is a Castlevania ripoff.
Rayman Legends. Man, there's a lot of
Yep.
games with legends in this up.
Plants vs Zombies: Battle for Neighborville.
That's new. But of course, it's got the
Yeah,
Battle of template though, so it's not
yeah.
100%.
Doom Eternal.
I'm pretty sure games have had Eternal on it before.
Yeah.
This is gonna soak a good bit of the podcast, but that's all
Kingdom
it is, really.
Come. Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yep, Deliverance is probably gonna be. There's a game that's straight up called Eternal. And of course, there's Doom Eternal. Yeah, I'm surprised not a lot. There's not a whole lot. Eternal Sonata, whatever that is.
I have no idea.
Eternal Chronicles of the Throne. Eternal Battle Lines. Eternal
Kenna,
Champions.
Bridge of Spirits.
Spawn the Eternal.
Uncharted, Legacy of Thieves.
Oh boy, Legacy.
Here's one. Endling, Extinction is Forever.
Oh, Hogwarts Legacy. Just Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Gauntlet: Dark Legacy.
Hold on, what about Endling? And the subtitle is Extinction is Forever.
Extinction. Extinction is Forever.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit too unique for multiple games. You said Endling?
Yeah, that's the main title.
Yeah, I'm not finding anything else for that.
Oh, here's one. Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to find anything for that. I can't recall anything else being called that. Let's see how much stuff has Forever. Batman Forever, of course. Duke Nukem Forever. Fight Forever. Shrek Forever After.
Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, that's pretty unique. I don't think Become Human is part of anything. Here's the thing. I mean, whenever a video game becomes popular enough with a subtitle, it pretty much overtakes everything else that ever had that, especially if it wasn't as well known.
Yeah.
Driver Parallel Lines. You don't see games with that subtitle.
No.
I should just look at my video games I have listed here. That one thing
That's
I really hate
that's
about
what I did. I was going through my games.
one thing I hate about Jedi Survivor is that a lot of games have Survivor on the end of it.
And the first one was a better subtitle, Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good subtitle.
a lot better than Survivor. I hate it. I hated that subtitle so much that I didn't buy the game.
And that's actually awful because it's a better game and mechanically and gameplay wise in every
Was
way.
it long though? It's just one of those games I just don't think I would
It's
stick with. Very long.
it's a little bit longer than the first game for sure, but it's more engaging to me. It's just a better game.
Resurrection.
They
Used.
improved almost every aspect.
Bridge of
And
Spirits.
they've
That's
already
unique.
confirmed, yeah, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Yeah, I said that one. Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know. That's one whole full title. I don't think 2077 is. I don't know. You know what? I guess that could be the subtitle because they'll reuse the Cyberpunk name in the second game, but they probably won't reuse 2077.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
All right. I guess we're not getting Alex
I guess not.
because I got to wrap things up once 9 o'clock hits. All
Yeah,
right, so we need to.
speaking of cyberpunk, I'm almost finished with the expansion, Phantom Liberty. That's another good little
Yep.
subtitle, Phantom Liberty. Uh, and it's really good if you're into like uh like spy espionage, government espionage type stuff. It's really engaging.
I really love Ballad of Gay Tony.
That's a good one. That is a good one. That is a really good one.
God, I need to play that DLC again. That was
Ballad
that
of
was a
Gay
wild
Tony.
DLC.
I've heard it's one of the best DLCs ever in any game. I just don't know. I just don't think I could go back and play those older GTA games. I mean,
Really,
I just don't think so because I
are they
tried to go
just
back and play GTA 3, the remaster, and I just couldn't. I
really?
it, it,
That's
I just couldn't do it.
that was the
I
only
don't know why.
playing. That was the only time I ever finished Grand Theft Auto 3 was on the remaster.
Yeah, man, the game looked like shit, and I'm not a graphics whore or snob. I'm really not. Like, but it was just so outdated, and the textures looked so bad, and the way the character moved was so weird. And the controls were not very intuitive, and I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
I did. I hate. I just. Well, I don't want to say hate, but I just do not like Vice City that much.
Yeah.
I don't like the level design at all. Not compared to Grand Theft Auto 3 and San
Well,
Andreas.
you might not like Grand Theft Auto 6 then, since
I'm
it's
sure
based on the
that's
same city.
better. I don't think they're
Yeah, I'm
gonna. It's
sure.
not gonna be a carbon copy. It's not gonna be.
Oh, it's surely not. Do you
Well, I
think
say
it's actually
carbon.
going to come out next year, or do you think it might even be pushed back to 2026?
Mm, I mean, there's so many variables to what could happen. So it's just to say the game's leaked again, then they got to push it back. You know.
Yeah. Is it going to be a day one buy for you?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
me too.
I just enjoy Grand Theft Auto games too much.
But I'm going to wait until we have a solid release date before I actually pre-order it because our pre-orders open already.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I definitely wouldn't buy another Red Dead Redemption though.
Really.
Yep. Red Dead Redemption 2 was just too much. Too much I just hated about it.
I probably would, but I don't think they would do if they did another Red Dead game. I don't think it would be the same type of thing because the whole they've gotten pretty much to the end of that Wild West cowboy era,
Hmm.
so they would have to kind of move on to something different.
Man, those cats are loud in the litter box. So yeah, I I would hope that they would continue with John Marston's son, and we would start seeing more vehicles pop up, more automobiles.
Yeah,
That's
the
where I would want it
pre-order
to
is
go.
not up. Yeah, the pre-order for GTA 6 is not up.
But
So
yeah,
whenever there's a solid release date, I'll probably pre-order it.
I have a lot of fun just taking Grand Theft Auto a lot slower and just kind of
Hmm.
looking at their missions. One bad thing about Grand Theft Auto 4 though is that there are no it doesn't there are no the checkpoints are not generous enough. You can go through 20 minutes of mandatory mission and then if you die you get sent all the way back. Generally, I would love that type of harshness, but some designs of the mission are very repetitive, and I just rather not deal with them again. But like little shootout sections is what I love. Just pulling up, driving up to an area, then a shootout happens. I like being able to analyze that, see what I can do to adapt into a challenge, and then just mastering it and getting it done. Like, do you remember what I did last year with that one particular part where I just used grenades?
I think I
I had to,
remember that. Was that in GTA 4?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had to be very precise about where I threw the grenades, and I
Hmm.
played around with that with a few hours, and I eventually found the right combination. Did it without taking any damage. I also did it
Right.
without getting hit, but without hitting anything with my vehicle. So I added on a lot of things, and really after that point, it became very problematic to do that with other missions, unfortunately, because of just how long missions were getting, and it was just I just I want to do that more often than Grand Theft Auto. It's just you got to kind of do it sparingly. It's just kind
Yeah.
of it's unfair to myself to waste a lot of time with something that may or may not be viable. Because like I said, I need to stop being disappointed when these challenges don't work because the games are not designed around these challenges. There's
No.
something that I'm coming up with, and I kind of
Yeah.
had to apply it like how skateboarding works. You think about a trick, that trick is probably not going to work, but
Right.
you try at it. You keep trying until you get a little hint of something being viable, and then you
Right.
work upon that. However, if you're just doing hours and hours of no success, no step up, then that trick is more than likely not going to work out in your favor.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes sleeping, just going to bed or letting it soak in for a day, and all of a sudden a new idea pops in your head. Say, wait a minute, what if I do that? That's what happened with Juggernaut with Wolverine's Revenge. Because
Hmm.
I was, the original strategy is to run away in time, but as the fight progresses, Juggernaut has a higher tracking on you, so it's a lot more difficult. Plus, the camera angles suck, and you have to make sure that you're always moving along with the camera as well. But then I found that I thought about that mechanic.
Bodie, come here, Bodie. Go ahead.
Then I thought about the claw extension mechanic that gives you invincibility frames. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If this works in the Sabretooth fight, if it works in a really weird way in the Sabretooth fight, wonder what happens if I draw out my claws before Juggernaut hits me. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, I do not get hit or take damage when I do it, so I utilize that, which is how I was able to achieve a no damage defeat.
Right.
And, of course, I've been on that fight for months. And
Yep.
turns out that one little mechanic was the solution to all my problems.
And I bet it felt really great when you finally pulled it off.
It was. And one thing that really sucks about it is that I could do a lot better because I
Like do it in a shorter amount of time.
well, that and also not have Juggernaut miss the electrical poles because he misses once. But the fight that I got was
Why does
just
that? Why does that? Why does that bother you?
because I don't want to miss. I want him to hit it every time he charges at me.
Okay,
It's just refinement.
I understand. Yeah.
It's like with Dark Souls. I'm not happy. I'm not.
Is he? Are you making him miss, or is he just missing?
Oh well, when I draw out my claws and he technically hits me, but it doesn't do any damage to me. He just kind of just skims
I
over
see.
me, and then he just kind of does a little curve back on that path that he was on a little bit, and then he hits the electrical pole. But I position myself to where it knocks him off a bit too much off the path, and he misses the electrical pole entirely. And I really shouldn't have set Wolverine there. I should have set Wolverine somewhere else where there was a better camera angle. But it's just refinement. It's the same reason why I
Yeah.
don't like leaving my blood stain in a boss arena whenever I do these challenges because it just looks sloppy. It looks like I've died, and obviously I have died doing the boss fights, but I
Right.
just don't want it to be that evident.
I
And
understand.
also in fights, I'll miss when I strike. I don't always hit the boss, but I leave it in there
Yeah.
because the goal is achieved. No rolling, no damage,
Right.
and so on. But all I guess it's just the perfectionist in me where I'm like, I could do it better. It's just there. These
Those dual wielding jump attacks really help with your viability in your Elden Ring challenges, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, and some people actually kind of attack me for that. Like, man, all you're doing is just jumping and attacking. And I'm like, well, it's a great way
Well,
to run away
that's
from
your strat.
attacks. Yeah, well, I mean,
But
it's a fast way to run away. You attack and
yeah,
then you can just kind of run out of attack.
the jump attacks are objectively like very strong.
Yeah, that's another.
So that yeah.
Yeah, and it's great for like the Godskin duo because their health is
Hmm.
so incredibly high. So you kind of have
Yeah.
to dual wield just so you can kind of get out of there without
Hmm.
having to fight them for 10 minutes. I eventually got the fight down to what 3 minutes without being too dreadfully overpowered with my Gary Bunda build. I don't know. Did you remember seeing that one
I don't think I remember it off the top of my head.
with those two rare weapons, the rib break, the that weapon only drops with the dancing flower ladies.
You'd have to share the video again in the chat.
Okay, that was a very interesting kill. But I have not done them without rolling. I think I definitely could if I put more practice into it. It's still a very brutal fight.
I don't know if I would ever try to do no rolling challenges because I love the satisfaction of dodging attacks with rolls. It's just it's like I feel it
I think
in my
you
soul.
should try it at least once. Just one,
Try it at
one.
least once.
Try it with a Soldier of Godric. You
You
can
do
do it. You can
you
do it with.
do yeah, I think I could do it with Soldier of Godric. You do make the jumping away from attacks look pretty satisfying.
Yeah, like Commander Nile. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. That's where it's really useful.
Some of those attacks, I'm really surprised you managed to avoid because it
Hmm.
looks like he's hitting you.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one really funny thing about the no rolling challenges is that
Yeah,
it looks like you get hit, but you're fine.
yeah. No, you make it, and the way you kill his, you've gotten really good at killing his summons. They just get smoked really quick.
Yeah, and that's it's definitely damage based because you don't want them sticking around for too long. But you can also still
So,
filter them out very well. One of them will zoom
doesn't he
towards you.
resummon them or no?
No, no. Once they're gone,
Okay,
they're gone. And you only have to really worry about one because Commander Nile just sits back. He
yeah,
buffs them. The one with the shield, he will do this lunging attack, and that's really the
yeah,
worst one. But I knock out the other one first because
almost.
he does run towards you. But you could do it weaker, but I rather just knock them out as quickly as possible. And if I have to, I can just make myself weaker. That way, I'm not knocking out Commander Nile very quickly. But Commander Nile doesn't really take things lightly if you're just spamming on him, because he'll do
Yeah,
this attack where he just has this humongous AOE attack. He'll do it very
the lightning
quickly if
or the ice storm.
yeah, the ice storm, this like
Yeah,
almost like a hurricane of ice.
yeah.
And so if you start attacking him even before the summons are defeated, he'll bring out this AoE attack that's super powerful.
Hmm.
And so it'll kind
Yeah,
of
it'll one shot you.
yes, and so but the great thing of see this is the thing about Melania that they should have applied for the waterfowl dance is have her just kind of rest for a moment after that attack. That's what makes that the AoE from Commander Nile so satisfying to punish is because he's resting for a moment afterwards because it wore him out. Um,
You think that we'll have another Melania type fight in the DLC where they just have a completely busted move?
I mean, I hope not. I mean, if there's a good way to deal with it as satisfying and punish it, I don't mind if an attack is difficult to avoid. Just let me give me a good punish for it. Don't give me an attack that lasts 30 seconds and then don't give me a chance to punish it for at least a few seconds.
Is there
Instead,
any attacks that or Ashes of War that give you iframes that you could iframe through it?
I mean, you got Bloodhound Step.
I don't. Besides that,
I'm not using that.
I'm talking about like an offensive Ash of War.
I don't play around with Ash Wars enough to say, but
You
there
know,
might
like you
be.
know the attack Radagon has where he shoots up in the air with his hammer up like this and then does that slam down.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people that you can get that hammer and it has that Ash of War. I wonder if that Ash of War would be useful in dodging attacks, and plus it would look really cool.
I wish there was a very certain way to where once she lifts up in the air for the waterfowl dance, that you can stagger her out of it. You would think that her stagger would
Yeah,
just lower significantly during that moment.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
because it
agree.
would be so satisfying to swat her out of that. Can you imagine that? That would just be a dream come
Yeah,
true. The moment she
it would
jumps up
be
in the
because
air,
I mean, even when I break her posture regularly, I'm like, oh fuck yeah,
and I need to get back on her fight because I was getting somewhere. I was finding a consistent way to stagger her, like you saw in the video. I was using
yeah.
the Knight Cavalry halberd and just staggering her whenever she was just idling. And I was actually,
Sometimes I almost feel like her second phase is a little more forgiving.
and that's why I get excited whenever I get to her second phase, because I'm like, I feel like her second phase is a lot more generous.
Right, yeah.
But it's
Because I
just,
was playing it the other day too, and it was just she doesn't do water fail dance nearly as much,
I don't know. It feels like she
and
does that a lot with me, but
and she does that blooming rot flower attack kind of frequently, but it's
yeah,
fairly easy to
you gotta
avoid.
wait for that the finish too, because you can't get too
Yeah,
close because you get scarlet
oh, you'll
rot.
get rot. Yeah,
And I'm like, so I mean, I'm like, do I really need to get down to just using a bow and arrow just so I'm doing something?
beautiful day. But the other commander guy in the rot swamp, he keeps resummoning spirits, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah. So I'm not a fan with
Yeah,
that fight very much because he just summons a bunch of nonsense.
and he summons like a bunch, like three or four, not just two.
Yeah. Yeah, he summons a whole army, basically.
Yeah,
I would love to.
yeah.
I would. I have plans to go through the boss fights and just rank them because I feel like I would definitely have an interesting take on a lot of the boss fights. And people really enjoy video essays like that, where someone just goes through all the boss fights.
Yeah, I enjoy those too. Gosh, man, I really, really, really. Did you ever fight Lich Dragon Fortisax?
No, no, you keep asking me, but I
Man,
haven't done
dude.
it.
Oh no, the one I keep asking you about is the Dragon Lord Placidusix.
Oh, aren't they? I thought.
He's the hidden boss in, well, they're both hidden actually. Uh Dragon Lord Placidusix is hidden in Fair Missoula. Gosh, baby. It's jammed, honey. I got it to come out a little bit. Uh but Lich Dragon Fortisax is the hidden boss at the end of Fia's quest line. You know what I'm talking about, Fia?
Tia.
The deathbed companion girl that gives you a hug in the round table hold.
Yep.
You got to finish her quest to fight him, and
Okay.
they're both really good. But Dragon Lord Placidusix is like the my favorite dragon fight ever. It's so good. It's so cinematic. It's without being it's just, oh god, it's fantastic. I
Okay.
can't wait because I have this gut feeling that you're gonna hate it and shit on it, and I just can't wait to hear why.
I'll make it a point to do that. I'll focus on that so I can study it because I mean it's definitely one section of the game that I have not seen yet. There
Yeah,
there's a lot of dungeons I haven't even seen yet.
yeah. I wonder how many of the trophy bosses you haven't done.
Oh, I know Millennia's one,
Actually, I could look
and
because
I'm
we're
pretty sure
playing.
Dragon Placidusax is another.
Yep.
And I don't think there's really that many more if there is.
Surely not, because you've beaten the game already, haven't? I'm pretty sure.
I mean, yeah, you seen my Elden Beast video,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
haven't rolled the credits yet.
Right.
But yeah, just I'm trying to decide if I want it scripted or not, or just write down some notes for each one. That way, I can kind of riff off a little bit longer and make just a little bit of a longer video. This one dude, he made this series of over analyzing the boss fights, which was really cool. I don't agree with
Yeah.
everything he says, of course, but he went from 60 subscribers, and I was trying to get. I was hoping that he would be interested for a podcast, but he wasn't at the moment. And I checked today just because I wanted to watch his videos, his video analyzing every Dark Souls 3 boss. He is now up to 3,000 subs.
Nice. The FromSoft games will give you they'll farm subs for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely a excellent way to get. And I have so many ideas that I want to make for just Dark Souls alone, and I just need to make them. Like I have the unsolved mysteries for Dark Souls that I really want to get done.
My guy Zach has played NCAA football. What?
Huh?
It looks it says on your profile you've played
Uh,
NCAA football.
I don't remember that.
It was back in 2013.
Uh, um, maybe I was asleep and I was sleepwalking. I was sleep gaming or something. Different gamer
I mean, I'm
mode.
not. It's a great game. I'm not judging you.
What's it called again?
NCAA 13, NCAA football 13.
In.
You have you have 1% of the trophies.
It must have been free or something. Maybe I was just desperate to play something. Because back then I played just about anything.
Got so many fucking games on here.
Yeah, I probably got well over 1,000 games, probably close to 2,000.
I'm just trying to find Elden Ring, and it's like pissing me off.
Well, don't can't you just sort it for, trophy
Maybe, yeah.
wise?
Holy shit, bro.
I think the very first
There it is.
very first game I downloaded digitally was a demo of Lego Batman.
Yeah.
That was on the PSP.
All right. So you have not done Melania, Lord of Blood,
Oh, yep,
Placidude
Moog.
Six,
Yep, forgot about Moog. I was
Fortisax.
starting to get him down the last time I played.
You have not done Valiant Gargoyles or Regal
That's a
Ancestor
trophy.
Spirit. Yeah.
Sister
That's the
Spirit.
double. That's the double gargoyle fight.
Yeah, yeah, I know where they're at.
And then the Regal Ancestor Spirit. You haven't done that one.
See, I thought
And
I
you haven't
did that
done.
one, but it turns out
Oh,
that was the copy of it.
you haven't done Moog the Omen from the underneath the Capitol either.
I'm surprised that's a trophy. I thought all these trophies were going to be remembrances.
All right, so there's 7 trophy bosses you haven't done yet.
Interesting. So it's two Moog fights, Melania, Placidusax, Gargoyles. Uh,
Regal Ancestor Spirit, and it's basically just a buffed up version of the regular Ancestor Spirit.
mm-hmm. Interesting.
But yeah, that's it.
So much I still got to do in Elden Ring. I just keep getting my focus on smaller aspects of it.
All right, and you know what? That's good though because you'll it just means the game is going to last that much longer for you.
Yeah, and then the DLC. I mean, who never
Yep,
who knows? More DLCs might come out for Elden Ring because they might just want to stick with this
I
property for
doubt
a
it.
long time. You think
I
it's still
kind of
sealed
doubt it.
yet?
Yeah, especially on the heels of Miyazaki, talking about possibly taking a step back from game direction and handing the reins off to somebody else. That's very disappointing to hear.
I just
Uh,
I wouldn't mind just taking a break from everything and just kind of get back into level creating again, like with Little Big
I
Planet. If
still
they,
need to check out. I still need to check out those Mario levels you sent.
yeah, I need to upload more that I have on the Switch and post them on
Yeah,
YouTube because there's still so like assembly. There's one episode about it was assembly based, yeah, conveyor based. It was a conveyor based level, and it's one of my favorites that I've done because it's just like especially this one with the wampas, with the womps. I think that's what they're called, womps. You know,
little, yeah,
the
yeah.
brick guys that slam into you.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Like they slam down when you walk underneath them.
mhm,
I
yeah.
did this one puzzle with them that's incredible.
Does it
Like
show how many times somebody's downloaded your level?
no, it just shows you how many times they played it, how many times they've hearted it. Not a whole lot of people have been able to clear my level, especially Tales from the Dead Shells. That one's I'm really proud of that one. So definitely pay attention to that one when you get to it
Is
because
that one you sent?
yeah, yeah, I've sent you a whole my entire playlist.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
I'm proud of all of them because I mean, none of them are inspired except for the difficulty philosophy from Dark Souls. That's really the only inspiration I have. I just basically just create point A to point B and just make it as complicated but fair as I can.
Did you finish Mario Wonder?
Yeah, yeah, I 100% it.
Did you really like it? You think it was good?
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it. Really, the most challenging level is really the only time where I was like, oh man, this is really this is my type of challenge here. This is kind of like what I want to make in Super Mario Maker. But it's just not as claustrophobic. I make my levels very claustrophobic, which is one of the biggest
Like the castle levels?
complaints. Yeah, like the castle levels. Yeah, but I just don't like people being able to jump too much and being able to exploit too much of everything. You'll see what I'm talking
Mm,
about once you because I have
yeah.
one level called I can't believe it's not Sins, which is a callback to Sin's Fortress on Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
That one's really claustrophobic. You'll see, but it's very. I think the challenges are very cool.
Do you ever implement a lot of the underwater aspect, like parts?
I don't do too much underwater. Um, I'm trying to remember. Oh, lava ladle. I think
Lava ladle.
there's something where I think the level's called lava ladle or something like that. I do utilize. Uh, I, oh heck, what is it? Um, I think I utilize a little bit of water in that level. If I'm trying to remember, if I'm remembering it correctly. No, no, the level is floaty. That's right. It's not underwater, but it's basically water physics. Well, water
Hmm.
mechanics. You're just floating in space and free space, and I just developed a level around that.
Pretty
So
cool.
you'll see that whenever it pops up. Black Eye has one of the best boss designs I made, where you fight one of the Bowser children.
Hmm.
Definitely let me know what you
Oh,
think
what?
about one of Bowser's kids,
No, what's the level called?
Black Eye.
Black Eye. Okay.
So definitely let me know what you think about that, because that boss took me so long to eventually figure out what I wanted to do with it, and it was
Hmm.
just it's so beautiful. I love watching it.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. Yeah.
But all right, my wife's probably ready to come home, so I'll go ahead and end it here. Too bad Alex couldn't jump on, but we touched on
Yeah.
all interesting
We'll get him.
subjects.
We'll get him next week, hopefully.
He just texted actually. I just got home and took a shower. I just saw this. Oh well, we'll have to talk to him on the chat, but we'll go ahead and end it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blake, for coming on once again. Hopefully
Oh man,
we'll
of course.
do this again next Friday. My
Yep.
baby is crying.
We will do it again next week, my guy.
All right, see you later.
Peace, brother.